ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to the dark side of the podcast. You have that number displayed above your head because that's what you're going to need to look for when we decide that when the this giveaway is going to happen. So just wait for that graphic to pop up, and that's it, man. I know I got a hunch most of you are here for my money. That's cool. I understand that, but we tried to make it as fair as we can, and that's how we're gonna be doing this. Now I'm gonna be foregoing my usual intro. If you guys been to the channel before, you know it. And aside from Toot, great lady, by the way. She's been with us for years and years. Nobody has ever said that they'd like to hear it. So, Toot, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And by the way, her nickname cost me $50 in AMP. And that was a long time ago. But that's why she shall forevermore be known as Toot. When we started this channel, the podcast almost 4 years ago, it was always with the intent of being genuine. That it's important to me. But it's also what beats the hell out of me every time we go live. It's tough, guys. It really is. You drop your pants every single episode, every time that you hit the go live button. You know that you're opening yourself up to ridicule. And the internet is just an exceptionally harsh place. Now, if we had aspirations of greatness, taking the internet by storm, being the voice of crypto, we wouldn't care so much about that, about the ridicule. Any press is good press, but we're realists. Bell and I are realists, and this very face right here. This is a face for radio. All right, it doesn't represent the current crypto culture. It is what it is, man. But you know, we kept at it. We kept going live. We kept sending out videos, and we got something even better than money. What we got is you guys. That's what we got. We have the best audience. I mean, the absolute smartest audience of any channel in crypto. You guys have been with us. You guys have been with us since the very start. And when we come under fire, and it happens, man. I'm sure you guys remember the Sif Chain Discord invasion. You guys were there. You were there for us. You were there for me. I'll never forget that, man. I would rather go completely bust, zero out, than lose this audience, man. I've made real friends here, and you guys tolerate all of my silliness and just all of my bullshit. You put up with the rants, and you put up with me chasing the lights. You put up with my live reads and how I can never quite pull them off. Crypto's tough, man. It is, and it's tougher doing it alone. That's why I just absolutely cherish what we, the podcast, all of us have built here, because we built it together, man. If you guys wouldn't have kept tuning in, even when the market was completely on its ass, we would have probably given it up. But you didn't. So we didn't. And it gives us a chance to do what we're doing tonight, and that's giving away a whole bunch of tokens. 12,500 Jackal tokens to caller number 5 tonight. Now, if you've never been with us before, you wouldn't know that we are very nostalgic. I'm an old radio guy. And the fairest way that we found to give away money is caller number 5. So when you see the number that you saw earlier, next time it flashes on the screen, it will be clearly visible. Start dialing, and good luck. Now, I didn't expect Jackal to hold its price. I really didn't. I expected low 7s today, and I was still going to give away 12,500 Jackal tokens. Now, Jackal happens to be, I think it's up. I think it's up from the 8 cents. I say that as if I don't know exactly where that price is. Price is currently 0.091. We're still going to give away 12,500 Jackal tokens. So I don't know how much that is in real world money, but we're still going to give away the 12,500 Jackal tokens because, again, we want to be genuine. And we're in crypto for a reason, not for the dollar value, but for the crypto, for the tech, for all of that stuff. So if somebody wants to do up the math, that's how much the giveaway is. Whatever that price is, we're still giving away those 12,500 Jackal tokens. But, guys, that's not all. We have a very special guest tonight. We have the very co-founder of Jackal right here. Now, Marston is a very special kind of guy. One, he is like stupidly smart. I mean, this guy is next level. So when he talks, you should really, really listen because he is going to tell you the way it is. Now, two, he is so young that I want to cry. So, yes, this is a 100% Jackal stream. We've supported this project before it was a project. We are all in on it. So it's best to tell you guys about it and let you make up your own minds. Now, we here at the podcast do not do these interviews. We never have. You guys do these interviews. I want you to ask questions. Get as technical as you want because we got the guy here who built it. And I promise you that he's going to answer them. So with Nova, I didn't think I'd get through that, man. Every time I start talking about the audience and us, Bell, I always get like all emotional and mushy because I cannot believe that these guys have stuck with us for so long, man. We're not a hype channel. We're not a price prediction oracle channel. We're none of those things, man. We try to bring you a whole lot of truth, and people simply they simply don't want to. They don't want to hear it, man. So it's working out real well for us. Anyway, guys, no further ado. I give you the founder of the feast, the one that is the benchmark which others should be measured against. I give you the Marston. That's not Marston. That's actually Bell. Marston, go ahead and speak up, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
There he is, Marston. I'm giving you a round of applause. You can't hear it, but I assure you that the audience can. How are you doing tonight, sir? Are you happy to be here?
Yeah. No, it's great to be back. I mean, when was the last time I was on this show? It was
Dude, I did it 18 months ago.
uh,
It was 18 months ago
that's
that you were on.
nuts.
And I know, and I keep asking, but you guys don't answer emails. You don't get back. I know you're busy building. But that's cool, brother. I'm glad to have you back. I was gonna pull a frame from the very first time that you were on this show, man, because you look like you were about
Yeah,
11 years old, and now you
I
don't.
know.
So do us side by side, Bell. What do you think about that, Bell?
I think that'd be hysterical. And Microman's actually chiming in saying, okay, he looks younger than last time. And
Younger.
Microman, I think
Younger,
you need to go get your eyes examined because he has lost a lot of that baby face.
Yeah, man, this has not been kind to him, man. But good for you, dude. I'm glad you're feeling it as much as the rest of us. So, how are you doing tonight, sir? Are you ready to talk Jackal?
Yeah, I'm super pumped.
Okay.
This new upgrade that we've been working on has just got me like all fired up.
And I heard it on the last AMA. So, you know what, dude? With
hmm
no further ado, you're full screen. This is all you. Tell us what's coming. Tell us why it's important. You go.
Yeah, for sure. So there's kind of like I want to say three really big things coming in the new upgrade. This is Jackal version 4. We're calling it Acacia. We're naming everything after trees, which is kind of fun because we use like Merkle trees as the main way that we do proofs. So we figured we'd go down that route. Essentially, number one, UX improvements are going to be just crazy. So I don't know if anybody's used the Jackal protocol. If you haven't, essentially you upload a file. That file gets thrown to a storage provider somewhere. And then after that storage provider is done processing that file, it sends you a message back, basically like, hey, this is what your file looks like to me. Is everything right? And you sign off on it in your wallet. It works. Sometimes it takes a little while if you hit a bad provider, like right away. And it can take a couple attempts sometimes, which can result in your file getting a little lost or a little slowed down. In version 4, what we've done is we've flipped the whole structure on its head. You're going to upload your file to your web browser or whatever, whether that be your web browser, whether that be your Jackal JS if you're an app developer, Jackal Go if you're an app developer, and then any other like front end if, say, you know, some guy builds a second front end that Jackal Labs doesn't maintain, you can still upload your file there. And what's going to happen is that file is going to be processed. It's going to be like basically it's going to build a proof for that file in your web browser, and then you're going to post that to chain. You're going to ship it out to 3 storage providers that the chain picks for you. And those storage providers are guaranteed to be online and have been posting proofs in the past day, which is a much improved experience. I don't know, like, if you've hit a provider before that's kind of been slow or hasn't worked, but like only at the last second. This is going to kind of mitigate that, which is really, really awesome. So then from there, if you're uploading a 32 gig file, it used to be you had to upload that 32 gig file, wait for that file to be uploaded, and then sit at your computer and then click your wallet approve. Super sucked. It would just take forever and you'd have to be sitting and watching your computer. It's not that fun. Now it's kind of, you upload, you click, and then you can just walk away from your computer while that upload bar goes up, which is way, way better for your average user. Obviously, app developers aren't going to feel this very much because all of that's automated anyways. But as far as like our Dropbox type product, it's just going to make things so, so much smoother. So that's the big first one. The second one is another really, really important thing. It's less exciting. It's for node developers, for validators. Everything that you're seeing is like when if you've uploaded a file, sometimes it fails. A lot of the reason is because blocks are full for like a very small amount of time. Like I want to say 3 or 4 blocks are just packed. And if you try and submit a transaction during that point, almost guaranteed to fail, which sucks. It's bad UX. But more importantly, it's really hard on the node runners. It's hard on the validators because their bandwidth is just so full for that short period of time. We've even noticed when you try and do like a state sync, if you're running a node and you're trying to bring your node back to the stat, like the block height that the chain is currently at. If you stopped your machine during that block of everything being really, really slow, it'll just crash because of how much data it's trying to absorb all in like a really short amount of time, which is obviously not a good thing. So this second part of the upgrade is just going to make it so much easier. What we've done essentially is instead of splitting the chain up into a bunch of little pieces where, this is one window for proving a block, this is another window for proving a block, and then this is another window for proving a block, proving a file. We kind of stagger everything. So every single file has its own little window, which makes it really, really easy to have, this file needs to be proven here, but then this one can be proven all the way over here, and then this one's over here, so that nothing really sits and overlaps. So the same amount of chain usage is going to be there, but there's going to be a lot more spread of where those transactions are living. It's not going to be 3 blocks that are totally packed and the rest completely empty. It's going to be, every single block has like 1 or 2 files being uploaded through it, which again is like another scalability improvement. If you're looking at the future of the protocol, we can do more files per block type of thing. So that's really exciting as well. And then the third thing, which is, kind of out of my scope, is just this is the upgrade that econ model is going to be implemented. So we're proposing an econ model shift to the forums shortly. Whether that is the exact model that ends up being voted on, or it gets tweaked, or is completely different, whatever that model is, that's going to go live in V4 as well. So you should see general improvements on token emissions, more fairly rewarding validators, all that stuff. That's kind of what the goal of the econ upgrade is, token wise. And those are kind of the 3 core sections of this upgrade. I know I just threw a lot out there because it's a very, very big update. Probably, I would guess, probably the largest update that Jackal is ever going to see, just because of how much is being done to future-proof things. But yeah, those are the 3 kind of landmarks that we're rocking with this upgrade.
Now, the signing the transaction before the transaction actually gets uploaded, dude, that is a fundamental change to this entire protocol, man, because this puts it into the fire and forget mode. That means I send you my data, whatever it happens to be. Now, I'm going to ask you a question here because you're the guy who answers it. I send up my videos here, and I send up a lot of data. I mean, a lot of data. So right now I'm kind of stuck only doing one video at a time because blocks get full, dude. Transactions fail, yeah. And if one fails, they all fail. So is this going to be, with me signing this transaction, let's say that I wanted to send up 14 videos at the same time with a total of about 30 to 35 gigabytes, and I sign that transaction. Is it now queued on your side and I don't have to worry about anymore? Because, dude, that is absolutely massive. Is that what you're saying that this will do?
Kind of. It's going to queue up a little bit on your machine. So what's going to happen is you still need to kind of go through that process of processing every file one after each other. I'm not totally sure about in browser. Admittedly, I don't know how like it handles running things in parallel. But I know at least our Go library and everything will speed things up a little bit. But every file you upload is going to need to be processed in your browser, which is a little different than what it used to be. We create that Merkle tree that we use to prove the files on the storage providers, and we're going to make it so that the browser also creates that Merkle tree for every single file, so that you can kind of create like, essentially it's an ID code of those contents of the file. It allows us to prove little bits of data against that one little hash of the file to see if that piece belongs there. Your browser is going to create that. It's going to have to send that to the chain before anything else happens. So in terms of being able to run things kind of like in set and forget mode, it's still going to need to do all those files and process them one after another before you send it off. But the good news is once it goes through and processes that all in your browser, you're going to just click send to chain. You're going to approve it in your wallet. It's going to create a whole bunch of contracts in your storage account. And then those files that you've already processed are then going to be uploaded kind of as fast as your computer will allow them. Essentially because there's a network of storage providers. When you create that contract, if you say, let's say you make 5 different files, all those files are each going to pick 3 storage providers that are going to start itself off with. And then those 3 storage providers, they don't all have to be the same. For every single file, all 3 of those could be totally different. There could be a whole 15 different storage providers that you're hitting. And so as long as those storage providers can take in 1 file at a time, and your machine can put out those 15 files kind of all at the same time because your network is good enough, it will do them all at the same time. And then you can just kind of hands off and leave. The reality of it is, though, most people's network isn't able to handle something of that size, especially because for every file you're uploading, now you're kind of going to be uploading it almost 3 times to make sure that it hits all 3 providers, so that you're not just sending it once and then hoping 2 more providers pick it up and create those copies. You're going to be doing all the copying on your side, which is going to maybe slow down the rate at which you upload files depending on your network. But the main thing that you're going to notice is, before you had to upload a file and sit around and wait for it, now your computer can kind of just click once, and then you can step away from your computer and it will upload all those files as fast as your computer will let it.
Well, I'm 1 gig up and down, so I haven't really experienced any issue from my side. Obviously I'm not speaking for everybody, man, but look, this is important to me, so I'm going to pay for the best. All right. Anyway, Marston, we're getting to a really weird time. We didn't discuss this pre-show because we don't pre-game here. But 2 things are about to happen. One, we're about to lose half the audience. You're going to listen to a really silly live read. I don't know if you watch my show or not, but we have really weird sponsors. So you're about to hear from one of those. And then we're going to go to break. Now, all of this is very, very necessary because something really weird here is about to happen. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you about our latest and greatest sponsor. Hello there, Podocasters. We are all about solutions here at the Podcast, and we are all about education. So in an effort to combine these 2 elements, we bring you the newest offering from our favorite sponsor, Tom of Tom's bag of broken glass and Tom's super short fuse firecrackers, we give you the latest educational toy by Tom and Marston. It's called Doggy Dentist. Now, look. Dog plaque, it's a problem, all right? And dogs care as much about their dental hygiene as both you and I do. So, what better way to get children playing doctor for real with Doggy Dentist? You simply have to trank dart Rover, let him kiss the sky for a few minutes, then little Mary and Timmy can get to work. Guys, this is playing doctor, all right, for really real. For really real. The kids get to learn, and Rover gets a smile that will make all the other dogs jealous. From plaque removal to plaque removal to root canals, Tom's Doggy Dentist Kit includes all the necessary tools, kid safe, and all the necessary step-by-step instructions to make sure that Red Rover will send everyone over. So stop wishing your dog had a great smile and start making it happen with Tom's Doggy Dentist Kit today. And guys, don't forget about the podcast coupon code. Hit me a big silly ass for 11% off your order. Tom loves us, huge fan of the show. And guys, we will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So what I'm waiting for right now, guys, I see that the calls are all filled up. I'm waiting for one of those to get added into my queue room. That's the person who's going to win. So as Belle sorts this out, she's not actually on here right now. She's screening calls. It looks like we have somebody here. So why don't we bring him in? Let's see what's going on. So, cannot change call status because call is not in progress. Did I drop somebody here, Belle? I haven't seen this before. This is a new error on our side. Hang on. Area code 440. Thank you for calling the podcast, sir. You're home for post-apocalyptic radio. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Scott. Thank you.
All right. Who do we got here? You don't have to say your name, man, but I would appreciate it if you did. You know my name.
Yeah, I go by Larry.
Larry. All right. Well, guess what, Larry? You made it into the queue. You are caller number 5. You win 12,500 Jackal tokens. I appreciate you supporting the channel. Now, let me ask you this, Larry, before we bounce. Would you rather be paid in Jackal tokens or would you rather be paid in USDC Noble? I will honor either one. But if you take the Noble, I'm only going to give you $1,000. Make the call, sir. Which way do you want to go with this?
I'll take the Jackal tokens. I think I'm going to put them as liquidity on Astro Bowl.
You know what? Boy, that's such a good answer. I mean, on just so many different levels right there, Larry. I appreciate it. All right. I'm sure Belle has already worked it out for you. So I'm going to send you back down into the room. She knows who you are. Make sure that you guys set up your code or whatever you have to do to make sure that I am sending this money to the right person. Belle was going to arrange it all the way for you. So appreciate your call, man. And I appreciate you supporting the show. So we're going to kick you back to the queue, and we are off and running again. All right, Marston, that was it. I imagine that we're probably going to lose a whole bunch of people right now, man. They were waiting for the money. It turned out to be $11.50, dude. That's a nice giveaway, man.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah?
We didn't even put it on the thumbnail. You want to split it with me? Would you like to split it with me? You don't got to split it with me, dude. You ain't got any money, man. You were so vested, Elliot. All right. This would normally be the time that we turn to Belle and start asking audience questions, man, because we got a whole bunch of them here.
Actually, I am back on since we got our winner.
All right. Well, take it away, Belle. I'm done with this interview. This is between you, the audience, and Marston. Take it away. I'm going to smoke and I'm going to drink.
All right. So first question for you, Marston, coming from a very, very familiar name, Jaden. How did you get so smart?
Oh, Jaden, you. Oh, what can I say? I think Jaden is the reason that I got so smart. You know, he's just training me so well since he joined the team.
My God, you're humble, dude. You can just say I'm a sharp guy. It's okay. We all understand it. You talked here for about 10 minutes. I didn't understand a damn word you said. What the hell is a Merkle tree? All right. Is that important to me as an investor to know what a Merkle tree is?
Not even a little bit.
Right. Carry on.
All right. Vicky Boy SC, question for Marston. What is Jackal's current runway?
Oof.
Oh, yeah.
Oof. You knew it was coming, dude.
Yeah, so it's not really like set in stone right now as they're spinning up a bunch of different like revenue generators like that API. Just generally working away at turning not only Jackal but Jackal Labs into like an actual revenue generating system rather than just another empty blockchain that prints tokens. I think that's probably like going over all that is a definitely better question for Patrick. So I think he's hosting a Twitter space in like a week. So if you tune in there, those type of questions will be much better answered by him.
All right. So Donnie G dropping the comment. Marston is working so hard he hasn't had a haircut since the last show.
Ooh.
Oh, I know. I know.
Let me ask you.
Man.
Let me ask you
Yeah.
one, Marston.
Please.
I'm gonna pick this up. Pull down your T-shirt just a little bit. You know why I'm asking you to do that. Right there from the neck. Just pull it down just a little bit.
Scott.
You know why I'm
Trying to
asking,
get me
but
to
I want
strip
to.
on camera.
Nope. I want to see if you still got that gold chain on, dude. I was so proud of that chain. I wanted to see if you stuck with it,
No.
dude. Oh my God, I'm so disappointed. You made a
okay.
choice, man.
You know, that one actually broke. I don't know how. I woke up one morning. I think I fell asleep and I woke up and it split right in two.
Well, you should have been caller 5, dude. I'd have bought you a new chain, man. All you gotta do is ask.
Actually, it's not like he doesn't know someone who works with jewelry in her very spare time and can probably fix it.
Yeah, okay, that's between you guys. Carry on, Belle. Dazzle us.
Makoka the Streamwalker. Hi, Marston. Can you please support or build a working explorer so we can see our transaction history?
Ouch.
Oh, yeah.
Ouch.
We've been trying to. Oh, that's just like a whole different thing. I don't fully know why PingPub doesn't show the transactions that you kind of expect it to sometimes. It's running off an archive node, so it should go back, but I just think it comes down to like your transactions will load eventually. It just takes so long and gets lost on that archive node, which drives me nuts. And then the Big Dipper Explorer is a little bit better, but it's still not perfect. It's a little bit slower, especially because kind of what I was talking about earlier, some of those blocks get really hung up. And I think the indexer that they use to kind of listen to all of the chain's activities gets a little screwy around that point. So it starts missing things. And I don't fully know why that happens, but we've been in talks back and forth with a bunch of different block explorers, and it seems like everyone kind of works the same and that we're going to be running into the same issues. So we're going to try and get things sorted out as far as the infrastructure side of thing goes for this V4 upgrade as well. There's so much stuff infrastructure wise that's going to need kind of an overhaul anyways, that we're kind of marking that as that point where we're going to try and get more consumer facing infrastructure up and running.
All right. So next question coming in from Alejandro. What has been the most technical difficulty at building Jackal?
Ooh, I would have to
That's
say
got to be a tough
probably
question.
it is because there's a lot. I think probably the biggest hurdle for us, as far as like the idea of it, not necessarily just like, oh, that's a hard thing to code up, was definitely like the encryption side of things, making it very scalable. We have ways to improve it, and it's still not perfect by any means. It's very new protocol, but the actual like cryptography behind making sharing work without any sort of like human intervention, that's upcoming, and we're doing that research right now. But essentially, we have to build this really complicated system into our validators so that they, as a group, have their own Jackal storage account so that smart contracts can like automate which files are shared with who without being able to see it. Because right now, like, if you're looking at Google or Dropbox, when you share something, even if it's encrypted, they still have to kind of like, it's called proxy re-encryption. They can still technically see it. And then they move it over, but it's only for a very brief second that they have access to it. What we're trying to do is make it so that that brief second doesn't even exist, and it just goes from person to person. That's definitely the biggest like technical hurdle we're facing right now.
All right, Makokata Streamwalker, what is the founding story? How did you and Patrick decide on hot storage? How did it all start?
That's a great question, man, because you've told it before, but we haven't heard it from Marston yet. We've heard Patrick's side. Let's hear Marston's side.
Honestly, it's probably going to end up sounding pretty similar. We started work on we were in digital forensics before, and we were looking for ways to keep track of evidence. There was this really cool tool that we used called Hunchly. It would basically like screen cap all of your, evidence that you were looking at and do a really good job of handling it. The issue we were having was it would just have to be saved to your computer. And then like, that's not super trustworthy because, it sits on my computer. By the time it gets to the courtroom, it could be a year that it's sitting on a hard drive, and who knows what's happened to that hard drive since. So what we were looking at is, what better application is there for blockchain than timestamping digital files? So we looked over to the Polygon network and started kind of timestamping every single file that we were dealing with. It worked really, really well, and I still have it just like lingering on my GitHub somewhere. The problem was we hit this point where we found ourselves using Google Cloud because there was no good hot storage for secure environments. You can't really use Google when people at Google can potentially edit your files behind this big black box. And it just made sense for us at that point to go, okay, let's take a step back and, see about fixing this from like an infrastructure level. And we looked at, building on top of already existing blockchain rails for this like privacy platform. And we found, it's funny, I don't think it's there anymore, but in our original Discord, like our roles and stuff we had were like digital investigator and stuff, because we fully expected Jackal to be like a digital forensics tool. And then we just kind of expanded it because we realized, hey, it's not just good for digital forensics. It's a Google Drive, Dropbox-esque platform with privacy, and that doesn't really exist right now, which is really exciting. So we kind of just ended up going, digital forensics, put that on hold. Let's lean fully into this storage platform. And that's pretty much how we got here today.
All right, that's perfect. Bell's got more questions, guys. We're going to get to all of them. All right, we don't ignore anybody, but I've been asked 50 different times by 50 different people, and I said, you know what? When Marston's on, I will ask him the question. The difference between hot storage and Arctic storage is monumental. You've heard Marston say it himself, man. Look, Jackal is hot storage. Marston is going to explain the difference in as if you were talking to people who really don't care, but you're going to explain the difference between hot storage and cold storage, because this is not just a feature of the product. This is the product. So, Aaron, I'm sorry. Please take it away, Marston, and tell me what the difference is between hot storage and cold storage, because this matters like nobody seems to be grasping how important this is. What's the difference?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with hot storage, because probably what most people are familiar with if they're using something like, iCloud for their photos. Essentially, it's storage that isn't locked away. It's you can access it the second you need it. You upload it, you can download it tomorrow, you can download it the next day, the day after that, a year from now, and it'll always be as fast as you'd expect it to be. Um, there's really no difference between, any time frame that you upload it. Cold storage, on the other hand, is you can think of it like, putting something in a box in your garage. You still have it, but you just can't really get to it that well because it's under a pile of a whole bunch of other stuff. So when companies in the centralized tradition were to like throw something onto cold storage, it was a slower server with hard drives instead of SSDs. So, it would be a little slower, harder to access. The network speed wouldn't be as good. But the trade-off was it was a lot cheaper, which is great if you know you need it, but don't need it now. And that's something that we saw a lot in the blockchain space was everything was cold storage.
Okay,
If you look at
I'm going to
Filecoin,
interrupt you here, dude.
you're gonna
Can you
Yep.
name the names of the people who are cold storage? I will do it, but I'd like you to.
Any like at all or like in blockchain specifically?
In blockchain specifically.
Yeah, Okay, so I mean, the main one, 100% is Filecoin. They are 100% cold storage. They don't. There's. They can use IPFS to speed things up sometimes, but that's not incentivized, and we only really care about the incentivized. So they are kind of the prime example of cold storage. I might be missing somebody, but I think they're kind of the main one. Is there anyone you were thinking of, Scott?
Yeah, Filecoin's a big one, dude, but everybody's cold storage, man. If they're not using cold storage, then they're using something like Amazon Web Services or Google or any of these other things. They're bundling it up.
Yeah.
They're only expanding their data pool as necessary so that they can maintain the illusion of it, but there is absolutely no privacy, no security. There's no anything that Jackal offers. And again, this is actually the product. Unfortunately, not a lot of people care about that. So you guys are offering them everything that a person should care about. You're offering it as a feature, and you're, just doing it naked like that. Anyway, guys, look, we will get right back. We're going to get to all of your questions. I can turn this off because there's no point in calling in anymore. We already gave away the money, so let me get this turned off real quick. That's the way we're going to be doing our giveaways forevermore, by the way, is with the call-ins, just because I like it. No live read this time, guys. We're going to take a 60-second break. Please stand by. We're going to be back with Marston. If you want to get into money, we're happy to get into money. But the guy is giving you just explosive alpha right now, so please stick around. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to the podcast. Again, man, I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in tonight. Marston is the he is absolutely the alpha. I'm all done talking tonight, so I'm going to sit here. I'm going to drink. I'm going to hit my little vape pipe, and we're turning it all over to you. So, Belle, if you could, please, let's continue on. Let's get the questions in.
All right. Code Serial, were the details of the tokenomics discussed?
No, not yet. You should be seeing something go on the forums shortly. We have kind of a coordinated effort between a couple different people, so it's kind of a slower process than we were originally expecting, but I think it's going to be for the best. So you should see that on the forums probably this week, next week, something like that. And then you guys can vote on updating it, changing it, throwing it in the garbage, whatever you guys want to do. But from what I know about it, I like it quite a bit. I think it's a great improvement.
All right, Scott, this question's actually for you from Renee. What do you think of Bitsong chart? Looks pretty bullish to me.
What do I think?
Yeah.
Wow, man, you caught me with my glasses off, dude. I have to be able to look down here and see this stuff. What do I think of Bitsong? I'm a big fan of the project. If there's any one single downside to Bitsong, it's that they're not partnered with Jackal. I'm sorry, man. Look, guys, if you want to build something, and it seems like we do, particularly in the Cosmos, because every bit of infrastructure necessary to make your product function on the blockchain exists right here in Cosmos, but everybody continues to try to take advantage of all the legacy world things, and it's not necessary anymore, man. The only downside I see to Bitsong is the fact that they're not partnered with Jackal. Now, as a product, I like it. I think it's great. Is it ever going to be a home run? No, man. Look, they're competing. They're going toe to toe with Audius, man, and Audius is just an absolute $300 million monster. So they're going to have a hell of a lot of time or a hell of a lot of trouble, but if these smaller projects that were existing out here in the Cosmos would reach out to somebody like Jackal and say, we're going to bring it all home. Look, man, what's your benefit? Your benefit is that you get a whole hell of a lot of visibility because you're partnering up with a project that is doing this because the tech is good. And you get a lot of visibility on top of that, literally riding their coattails. But the more important thing is that you are building something here. You're not trying to stand all by yourself, because if you stand by yourself in this space, you get absolutely crushed. So everything that you need to make it happen is here. You should be on Astrovault. You should be partnered with Jackal. You should be coming in to the community that is going to make it out of this really, really terrible bear market, bubble market. I know I harken back to that a lot on here, guys, but you did ask a question, so I'm going to have my say as well. There was a little thing that happened in 2000, man, called the dot-com bust. Now, some very, very important tech made it out of that dot-com bust. One of those companies was called Microsoft. One of those is called NVIDIA. One of those is called Amazon. We're talking about absolute monsters that took the idea and applied the technology and made it out. Now, Jackal is one of those that is applying the technology. So why the rest of the world out here seems to just be swimming around magical internet money, which will stop, by the way, because it has to, because economics are a law. They're not an option. But the companies that are going to be spinning out of these are the ones that are utilizing the technology, such as Bitsong, such as Jackal, such as Akash, such as all of these things that are now products. Decenter. You're literally looking at a decenter browser right here, is what I'm saying. So anyway, look, I didn't want to derail it. I was all done. Bell asked the question. I'm going to have my say. Bell, please take it away. Get back to Marston. He's sitting there chomping at the bit.
Divergent Dan, I know if I reach out to the cast, the cast would help, but is starting a 16 terabyte home build, I have it now, worth the knowledge? And is there an easier way to set it all up now?
Yeah. So that's something that we haven't really touched on, is we're trying to make those storage providers kind of a more sustainable system. We've kind of been looking at the code base of it, and a lot of the issues that we've been finding with, like heavy system requirements and everything. We've been working on a little side project called Sequoia. It's essentially a second type of storage provider. It's going to be very, very different, and we're not entirely sure how it scales to, much bigger, more data center oriented systems. One thing we are sure of, though, it runs pretty well on consumer hardware, better than existing. Oh, my chair just like exploded. It runs better on consumer hardware than the old storage provider did, which is really exciting. It kind of stays bundled within its own little database folder that's really, really fast, which is really interesting. I've been running it on literally like my Mac laptop on the test net for, I think it was like 2-3 weeks, and it was performing up to par with everything else. Um, it's a much easier installation process. It's, you know, overall, the hurdles like putting that initial um, 10,000 Jackal tokens, I believe it is, up front as like that deposit that you can get back, but it's kind of like collateral in case you start behaving negatively on the network. That's definitely a hurdle that will be there no matter what type of storage provider you're running. But I can't say if it's worth running a storage provider or not. We are, again, reworking that econ model to kind of revamp the tokenomics to make it hopefully more attractive for storage providers to run their systems, but also generally be more fair and reward you for what you're providing to the network rather than, you know, what had happened before where you could throw a lot of stuff on your machine yourself and kind of skew things and then, you know, so hopefully that econ model will definitely make it attractive for you. But even if it's just as like a hobbyist thing, it's a fun thing to do. You definitely like learn a lot about Linux file systems and everything if you want to set one up. So if you're looking for just something to do and to earn some extra Jackal tokens, I recommend doing it.
All right, Monero Dinero. I can see Jackal as a real use case in the metaverse. I'm just curious if Marston has ever heard of bitmaps, the standard for the metaverse being built on Bitcoin.
I have not, no. If you want to hop in our Discord or like message me on Telegram or something and reach back out and we can go over something like that, I'd be really happy to check it out with a little more information.
Vicky Boy SC, where do you see yourselves in 2 years?
Wow, that's a really good question. um, Honestly, I think, we, me personally, in 2 years, I would see myself kind of doing exactly what we're doing right now, but just kind of at a larger scale. The main thing that we're trying to achieve right now is just making sure that, you know, as many people that want this private, secure, and user-friendly data storage, as far as blockchain data storage goes, will be using Jackal. Obviously, blockchain storage isn't for everyone. There's definitely people who want something more like Filecoin for cold storage and all that good stuff. But I think that's kind of our aim is just to get everyone that could possibly want to be using something like Jackal to be using Jackal, whether that be a crypto project, whether that not be a crypto project. And that's kind of the next major milestone that we're aiming for kind of alongside this upgrade is that centralized API that we've been talking about, where, people that don't understand how to use a crypto wallet, people that don't know how to get tokens and all that good stuff can still use the protocol and still get some of the benefits, even if it's not the self-custodial element of it. You still retain that like geo distribution, that file redundancy, all that good stuff. And eventually, aim to wean people off of those centralized reliances and onto more decentralized applications. And hopefully the wallet experience, outside of Jackal Labs gets a lot better and people have an easier time, using something like if Kepler gets way better or MetaMask becomes even more of a standard and gets way better, then, we should see kind of the user experience of the Jackal protocol just get better and better and better with time. And so hopefully, you'll see it on your phone, you'll see it on your computer, Apple Photos or Google Photos type alternatives, just more applications built on top of the protocol instead of just this kind of bare infrastructure layer that we have going right now.
So, and I'll let you carry on, Bill. Marston, have you heard of Amuse? Have you heard that word before?
I have. I think I've heard it from somebody here.
Yeah, probably. It's going to go live today or tomorrow, and everything that you just said is in Amuse. Man, look, people, if they don't care about a crypto wallet, we'll take care of it for them. If they don't care about all blockchain technology, we take care of that for them. If they don't care about having to purchase crypto and do X, Y, Z before they can use it, we take care of that for them. From their standpoint, this is going to be usable by any human that has a smartphone because it's purely mobile. We're not even building a desktop version. So all you have to do is download the app, create an account, and you are uploading data that ends up on Jackal. That's it. That is it. Now
And
we're
I
giving
think
them.
that's the way that you got to do it, especially right now with people not fully understanding what self-custodial means and everything.
Yep. So we're kind of now we're giving them the option, man. Look, you don't have to. If you want to do all of this yourself, we give you the option to do all of this yourself. Create a wallet, do all of that stuff, and it basically goes around our entire protocol and goes directly to Jackal. But if you don't want to do all that or bother with all of that stuff, we take care of it, man. Look, we've been talking about this for months and months. I have over $100,000 wrapped up into this app launching so that anybody, whether they're Web 2 friendly, Web 3 friendly, whether they're knowledgeable, it simply doesn't matter, can download this app, create an account, and they are landing their data on Jackal protocol. That is critical to me because all of the features that Marston just talked about, all of the elements that Marston just talked about, all of these things, you get all of these benefits, and you don't have to learn anything. We believe that this was the way, and we're going to continue. Anyway, Belle, please carry on.
Captain Jeff is great, aka Microman. What are the two biggest threats to Jackal's success? One internal and one external, and how will you face them?
Oh, good luck with that, dude.
One internal, one external. I would say I'm going to start with internal. I think the number one internal threat would just be we have so much to do and so much that we want to do. So many good ideas floating around, and some, not as good, but definitely, we like to think they're good. We have so much on our plates to do that, we got to pick and choose what the correct thing to do is for the protocol, because we only have, a limited amount of resources. We can't just do everything all the time. If we could, that would be great. But I definitely think, like the biggest threat would just be having too much to do and potentially getting lost in a smaller side project. But that's why we try and involve the community as much as possible, and to try and make sure that, what we think is the best thing for the protocol is also what the actual community around the protocol believes is the best thing for the protocol. And we're really trying to expand that and hopefully not be the only people kind of contributing to those governance proposals and all that good stuff once more people come on board.
In other words,
yeah.
In other words, the biggest internal one is this. It's a squirrel.
Why the hell are you holding a stuffed squirrel? My God. How long have you been waiting to do that, Belle? Because we've been live for years. We've been partners here for years, and I've never seen that goddamn squirrel. Did you buy that for this interview? Go ahead and say it.
No,
I think we all know, but go ahead.
I didn't actually buy this for this interview. I actually bought this over a year ago because you, Scott, have a tendency to turn into this creature.
No, you know what? It's important because every word that comes out of my mouth is liquid gold. How can I prove that? I'm going to prove it right now. There it is, guys. That is liquid gold right there. Remember when this little token, the little token that could, was sitting at 0.022, and Scott was still up here pushing it because what was my rationale? What was my rationale, Belle? Because the price will catch up with the tech. It's just a matter of time, and yet here we are. So I don't take a lot of victory laps, but I'm actually taking 100% of a victory lap on this thing, man. Look, these things go both ways. Now, the nifty thing about Jackal is that the protocol will function regardless of the price of the token. Marston, am I mistaken in that?
No, you're not. Yeah. It doesn't matter really what the cost of the token is, as long as there's people providing storage and there are people wanting storage, it will function.
Yeah, so the price of the token is irrelevant. Now, this is important, guys, and I'm going to tangent here. I am going to be a squirrel. I'm going to chase the goddamn lights, because there are lots and lots of different projects right now that are coming out of this that the same thing applies to them. A cache, the volume of the token is irrelevant. You're on camera, by the way, Marston, so when you roll your neck and all that other stuff, everybody's watching you, and I can feel your frustration right now. I can, dude. I mean, it's a long interview, babe.
Got a little stiff there.
the things that are going to blow this out, the things that are going to blow out crypto are going to be the things that function regardless of the price of the token, because these are projects, these are products, these are things that are utilizing blockchain. Guys, you are going to have to change your mindset if you really want to come out of this and you only care about money. That's cool. I get it, man. I do. All right, because we're investors and we want to have more money tomorrow than we did yesterday. But if you don't radically rethink yourself and say which one of these things are actually products, once you get there, this is easy. All right, crypto is easy once you get there, but you got to change your mindset. Belle, please carry on.
All right, so Marston was going to continue with the external threat to Jackal.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Honestly, I think the external threat would just be like getting people to understand the broader crypto world. If crypto doesn't take off, or the government steps in to potentially push crypto away from being something that is usable for the average person, that I think that's definitely probably like the biggest thing that we face kind of as a whole community, not necessarily just Jackal, is just like dealing with regulation and the uncertainty behind regulation. And I don't think there's any crypto product out there that doesn't want to comply with regulation. They just simply don't know how. And I think that's kind of the major hurdle to get over as a whole ecosystem right now. And that also kind of ties into like, will wallets get better? Will seed phrases become something that we have better ways of managing? Because right now it's not a very good experience. So just kind of like that general Web3 adoption in the mainstream is definitely going to be something that we either have to do ourselves, or, the world gets with it a little bit.
All right, so Makokata Streamwalker, hot storage versus cold storage, sailor version. On the hooker now versus sailing into port, right, Scott?
You really asking me about this stuff?
Yep.
Look, guys, man, there's terms that you're going to hear here that they don't really apply to the blockchain world, and that's a really good thing. They're called ingress and egress charges. Now, if you actually want to actively utilize something like hot storage, like what Jackal has, it's going to come with ingress and egress charges. NASA, last year or the year before, got absolutely banged because they put all of their data up on Amazon Web Services, and unfortunately, they didn't account for ingress and egress charges. So even though all the data went up, they couldn't access it because they could not pay the egress charge. Now, an egress charge is you're paying bandwidth, guys. When you're talking hot storage, you're paying bandwidth, not on Jackal, but on every other name brand company that you love and you admire and that you wish them nothing but success. They're going to charge you for utilizing your data. Now, Jackal doesn't do that. I'm just saying. Belle, please carry on.
All right, so Captain Jeff is great, aka Microman. Jackal is clearly an amazing product, but even when I talk to IT professionals about it, their opinion is tainted by crypto's reputation as scammy, high risk, etc. How can you overcome that?
Yeah. Whew.
That ain't the question for you, dude.
Yeah. It kind of ties into what I was saying in the last question of like, we can do our best to educate and everything. But at the end of the day, if crypto is regulated in strange ways, or, good actors are always kind of punished by trying to play within these rules that either don't exist yet or don't really make any sense, and crypto does become kind of this thing that only ever does exist as a scammy type of Wild West situation, then yeah, I can see Jackal suffering a little bit from that because of the connotations to crypto. We do our best to offer that API where users don't even have to feel like they're using blockchain, but again, that comes with its own cost of losing that self custody. But I think that's kind of the main thing that we try and focus on is it's not about crypto. We're not Bitcoin. We're not Ethereum. We're just a self-custodial data storage, and blockchain was just the best tech for our use case. if it wasn't the best tech for a use case, we wouldn't be doing it. And I think a lot of people, build crypto projects for the sake of them being crypto, and that kind of dilutes what the blockchain tech is really about. And I think that's kind of where we sit, not just as a company in Jackal Labs, but as like a broader ecosystem again.
All right, I gotta say, I'll turn it back over, Bill. We're over time, guys. Thank you very much, by the way, for all the questions. We will get to all of them, but I have to ask Marston the unusual and very, very awkward question. What are you gonna do when you're a billionaire, dude?
Oh, God.
Hey, you know what? I asked
question,
I asked if you wanted to come on the podcast. You said you do. Now you know about us, and you know how I am. I'm a little bit tight right now, but I think it's a fair question, man. So, what are you going to do when you're a billionaire? Are you going to cut your hair?
If I ever become a billionaire, I'll go bald for you, Scott.
Will you go bald? Oh my God! Round of applause, dude. Thank you, man. I've always been wanting to do this, man. What are you going to do with all your money, dude? Because I'm sorry, man, this thing is 100% of a hit. Honestly, I see you guys getting bought out. I really do, man. This is me. This is my personal opinion. What the fuck do I know? I see you guys getting bought out. It's either going to be a government or a military. Your protocol is excellent. That's the whole thing, and that's where it comes down to, is the self-custody and the fact that you cannot game the system. That's what matters here. Now, government is and military and everybody's really, really famous about gaming the system, but if they were using something like Jackal, it is simply impossible. Marston, where am I wrong here? Where am I wrong as far as you trying to spoof 100 validators at the same time, man?
I mean, like any crypto project, it can happen to Bitcoin, it can happen to Ethereum. If the network does face was 67% validator attack, where if somehow everybody sold their tokens all at the same time to one central entity, yeah, they could mess with the blocks a little bit. But that's why we have that's why we incentivize staking. I mean, that's the main reason, is to lock those tokens up to create that kind of secure system. In the future, kind of the two main things that we're seeing, especially in Cosmos projects with like low market cap projects that are very easy to, not very easy, but easier than say Ethereum or Bitcoin to kind of hop on and take over, is the addition of like Bitcoin timestamping to rent security from the Bitcoin protocol, or what Archway just announced with their ZK stuff over on Ethereum to rent security from Ethereum. Those types of things are going to bring a lot of value to blockchains like Jackal or blockchains like Archway is doing, where now you don't need to just attack Jackal, you need to attack Bitcoin and you need to attack Ethereum. And the more layers that you add on there, the more interconnected everything becomes, and then the more secure kind of all crypto becomes at the same time. So that's really kind of the main focus for
now
going forwards and those things stabilizing.
Stop me if I'm wrong, but you guys have already integrated this, haven't you? The whole Bitcoin timestamping?
Yeah, so we integrated with Babylon's testnet. I don't believe Babylon hasn't gone live yet, but yeah, I think we're keeping up to date with what Babylon's doing. Timestamping on mainnet's going to be really, really exciting. The protocol is going to have to kind of fork out some money to do that timestamping. I think, initially we either will go to the community pool, or we'll fund it out of the Jackal Foundation or something. I'm not really sure how that's all going to work. But the other thing that's really exciting, I know Babylon's doing it, but Nomic also just announced it, is native Bitcoin. And then something else that kind of ties into that is you'll be able to kind of pay for Jackal storage in Bitcoin, which is really exciting. So you can kind of keep that digital money aspect of Bitcoin, which is kind of what they've been trying to push for a very long time now, and hasn't taken off until kind of just recently, I would say.
It hasn't taken off because there hasn't been a reason for it. But see, these products, these little Jackals, these alters, these centers, all these other little products that are coming out here, that's a reason for it. They're gonna get there, man. I have nothing but faith. All right, Bell. Do we have more questions or comments, or are we ready? Because we're already over time.
We've got 2 more questions for Marston, and then one that we can end the show with.
Okay, go.
A random one. Astrovault user, what is the speed of downloading from Jackal? Can I max out my pipe, or is it limited?
Ooh, that's tough. So it kind of depends on the storage provider that your stuff is stored on. What we've been finding is it's very, very comparable to like AWS speeds, but there are those times when, you hit the provider from halfway across the world in some guy's basement where it's a little bit slower than you'd expect. Something that we're going to be tweaking in the future is trying to kind of set in a centralized manner, because it has to be, is kind of go around and check what the speeds of each provider are from kind of where we're positioned geographically in the world, so that users that are around us in, as far as like Jackal Labs goes, our front end will host kind of this like mapping of download speeds, so that it'll start prioritizing providers with better download speeds for you, so that the experience is better. But like, Jackal app users and such, people that are building on those applications will kind of have to build those themselves. So you might get a different experience using a different front end, but that's kind of one of the steps that we're pushing for going forwards, kind of thing.
Hey, Makoka to Streamwalker. I love the Jackal token, but frankly, why even have it? Storage price is priced in fiat.
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. So the original economic model was not built around real yield. It was very much based around kind of a inflation, kind of a burn and then print kind of model. So the incentive structure was that, we would take Jackal in at $8, no matter what Jackal was actually currently priced at, which made it very, very good for the customer to only ever have to pay in fiat. But the storage providers would then be incentivized through token inflation. So the original idea was, if the demand and the supply are similar-ish, then we should be kind of pulling enough Jackal out of the economy as we would be printing new Jackal for the storage providers. And, that token would act kind of as a middleman between it, so that they didn't ever have to deal with actual like fiat settlements. So that's kind of where the token came from. This new economic model might adjust some of that. I believe there's still some element of inflation in the paper that is going to go to forums again, but so the token's still kind of necessary there, but it's definitely going to be more of a general kind of like token for purchasing power on the network, rather than this kind of like storage incentivization model as it was. Again, I'm not a very good person to explain this. It'll go up on the forums and you'll see what I mean.
Dude, I can see how uncomfortable you are asking that question, man. I'm going to give you a little bit of a bailout here. Look, with no token, there's no validators. With no validators, there is absolutely no storage providers. And with no storage providers, there is no Jackal. This is an L1, guys. All right? It requires a token to function. Now, the price of the token is irrelevant, but the existence of the token is incredibly relevant. That's it. Belle, carry on.
All right. So last question, directed more at Scott and I. Angel Crypto, what do you do during the breaks?
What do I do? Well, I don't know, man. I do what anybody else would do, any other radio. I take my pants off. I run around the room. For the most part now, we just talk to Belle. I talk to Belle and I say, what am I missing that I have to cover in the next scene? I have no idea what Belle does, but go ahead, Belle, answer the question. What do you do?
I try and get Scott back on track and focused, because again, there's a reason this little guy is actually named Scott.
You named your stuffed squirrel, Scott. I'm so disappointed in the fact that actually happened.
It's the podcast squirrel, Scott.
Okay. And guys, we are showing you Jackal Protocol. That's the video that we're downloading right now that will be active to play very, very shortly. We have 73%, 74, 75% of this video right here is now being downloaded because we can do that because this is hot storage. The size of that video is 875 megabytes, just shy of a gigabyte. The whole reason that I made the video today is because I defy you to try this with any other competitor that happens to exist in the blockchain world that is actually using blockchain, meaning that your data is secure, your data is private, your data is yours and yours alone. Now, I'm going to save you guys the effort, but I certainly welcome you to try it. Nobody else can do this right here. The only people who can do it is Jackal. There's a reason that we've supported this product, man. I have worked in the data storage space for 25 years. 25 years. What I'm saying is that I'm familiar with it. And nobody has done what these guys have done before. Now, that thing's going to tick up here because we're at 93, 94, 95%. It's going to tick up, and you're going to see a video that I made a long time ago. I archive all of my videos up to Jackal Storage, and every now and again, I like to play them during a live stream and pull them up just so that we can see what was going on when I made this video years and years ago. So right there, we're at 100%. You guys are about to see what can only happen on Jackal and nowhere else. You're looking at a video right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats
You're
and
hearing the
kittens,
voice of Scott. You're seeing the video, and you're seeing Osmo that was at $1.12. Rowan, you guys remember that? FET was at 9 cents. AMP was at .0072. Archway, I don't even know why that was on there, but Buchanan was at 2 cents. This is a workable
podcast, and thank you.
This is a workable, active video player stream that is not touching my computer in any way, shape, or form. If you don't believe me, ask Marston. We have him on the stream. This is us streaming data from the blockchain. Now, if you can't see the value in that, babe, I can't help you. That's really
That's
where it
another
comes.
thing that we're going to be pushing is technically every single file is stored in like a bunch of little chunks, which is, you know, a really, really good way to store storage that you want to prove. What that also lets us do is going forwards, these storage providers won't just like bundle the whole file together and ship it off to you. They'll be able to send you individual pieces. So if you have something like a video, you can be sent, you know, the first 10 seconds of the video and not have to download the rest. And then once you hit that like 5-second mark, it'll download the next 10 and then the next 5. And then eventually it'll buffer to the whole file. And we can kind of have a more traditional streaming experience that you're used to coming off some of these storage providers if they choose to run their systems that way.
I got to ask, dude, because what you're talking about is traditional streaming, but with the data never actually touching your computer. Are you shitting me that you guys managed to pull this off?
So with the privacy elements of it, it becomes a lot more challenging. What you're going to end up with is if you want to encrypt everything, you're going to have to, in the browser, do some funky stuff where you split the file into a bunch of little pieces, encrypt each piece, shove it back together, and then upload that to like the public cloud, even though it's encrypted. It's just our dashboard doesn't handle it that way right now. And then every piece that you get back, you're going to have to decrypt that individual piece. Or, you know, if you don't want to deal with that, it's going to be a provider update down the line where if you upload something publicly, you can stream it. So you can kind of have like a YouTube type system, which is really exciting.
I'm going to ask you this, dude, but we're going to let you off the hook.
Yeah.
Look at the camera. Marston, look at the camera. You're looking down in a way, man, which tells me that you don't quite know how to pull this off. Do you know how to do with your protocol exactly what you just said that you want it to do? Can you make it do that?
Yeah, the main issue is incentivizing it. Storage providers have no incentive to run their systems that way. It doesn't really create any more hassle for the providers to run their systems that way. It's like it's not going to increase bandwidth. If anything, it'll reduce bandwidth if you don't watch the whole video. But yeah, it's possible. I've done it kind of in a testing environment. it's a pretty straightforward process as far as like the actual providers getting it done goes. It's just building a good UX for it is the main thing that we're having that challenge with.
Okay, one more question, and then I'm going to let you go, dude, because we're way
Yeah.
over time. When can we expect that feature? Boom.
Ooh, that's tough. I can't give you a timeline on that. We're so booked with the V4 upgrade. And then after that, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we want to do with like scalability improvements and everything that's going to be wrapped in there somewhere, but that's probably going to be like a V5 or V6. It doesn't technically need a chain upgrade either, which is the exciting part. And that's what we're doing right now. Actually, that's a big part of V4 for the people that care, is like future proofing everything so that if we want to make an update to the way that storage deals are handled, we don't need to do a chain upgrade, which is really exciting. It'll basically just be like a provider upgrade, and then those providers will be able to update like metadata that's kind of just empty sitting there for now, but it can be used for something later. So that's kind of the big thing that we're pushing for, and that's part of the reason why I say this is probably going to be the biggest upgrade ever, because we're probably not going to need many upgrades for features and stuff in the future, which is exciting.
No, dude, you have me like emotionally aroused right now. All right. Look, I'm telling you, man, like you guys are nailing it. All right. We are at the end of time, Bell. We have no other questions, I assume. Marston, going to turn it over to you, sir. 30 seconds. Talk it up. Whatever you need to say now is a fantastic time to say it. Come on, man. Sell us. Dazzle me.
Okay.
Go.
Yeah. So first thing, check the forums. We're going to have that econ model up very, very soon. Second thing, V4 is going to be happening. We don't have an exact timeline, but keep your eye on it. There's a link that I can share from the GitHub. Has a big checklist of everything that needs done. And so you guys can keep up to date on where we're at exactly with that. And then lastly, Stratus API is coming very, very shortly. Keep your eye out in the Discord for that. And if you don't want to use crypto, you can use your credit card and a username and password to access the Jackal protocol. So yeah, that's it.
There you go, Bell. Talk us up. Take us out of here.
All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, as always, we cannot thank you guys enough. You guys hit Marston with some fantastic questions this evening. Thank you very much for doing that. That was sincerely awesome. Now, again, we are planning on going live on Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Standard. Now, with that being said, we are also going to be back on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. In between now and then, if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, definitely do not hesitate to email Scott or myself, Scott@ThePodcast.com or Bella@ThePodcast.com, and we'll get those answered for you. If you guys have any more questions for Marston, definitely email those over to me and I'll forward them on to him. That way he can get answers to you as well. Again, guys, we can't say thank you guys enough, and we will see you next time.
We are dropping new videos and podcasts every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And be sure to look for us on Instagram, Twitter, and Parler at ThePodocasts. Also, visit our page at ThePodocasts.com, all one word, for all of our most current content.